Hey, Journey. Hope you're doing really well today. Wanted to just touch base together a little bit. Last week on Sunday, we started a brand new series called Family Matters. Just really trying to help each other say, what does it look like to say, my family matters, but my family also has issues? And how do we live this thing of life-giving relationship with Jesus out together, spanning generations? And we started, you might remember if you were here or if you've had a chance to catch up, we started with this little messy piece of artwork of mine where we just said, hey, if this is the core of life, we often get God in the core, but we also let it get very crowded by other things. And when the core gets crowded, lots of other things get messy, including calendar. And the core is too crowded, too many things vying for attention, then the calendar gets real chaotic. We said, what's it really look like to just hear the invitation of God and say, what if God occupied the core? And instead of fighting for influence with all these other things, God influenced how we engage good things. So instead of things like school and schedule and sports and arts and work and money being in the core, what if they're outside the core with God influencing them from the core? We just talked about that and said, look, can we make a statement of allegiance together? Our allegiance is to the one true King. We bow to Jesus with our obedience, our reverence, our trust, and our love. Now, it's great, and so many people made enormous decisions, and we're going to talk about some more practical things this week. But before that, I want to just say one of the ways that we now begin to live this, one of the ways with God as the core, that we begin to say, okay, what do I do with that next? Because God's a really big God. Well, one of the greatest opportunities can be to simply establish some family values. What is it that is most compelling to your family? What are the character traits? What are the characteristics? Maybe even describe it. What are the most important personality traits of our family? What does that even look like? Because then those values, God uses those values that He's given us, that He's wired our family to live, right? To say, oh, that then also influences, He's using that to influence all of these good things around us. We're going to fight for these values. Now, it can be a little hard. It might feel a little overwhelming to come up with some family values. And there's a really simple tool that will help us do that. And you can find that tool attached or linked wherever you found this video. It's a tool that several years ago, our family used and that we shared with all of Journey to really just establish some values. Our family ended up with 4 values. And we've got a family statement that hangs on our wall now. We stole that idea from somebody else who was on staff with us at the time. And it just says, look, the Allens are a Jesus-centered family that above all else values trust and togetherness, gratefulness and generosity. Just 4 things. But those values influence us. God uses those values to shape how He leads us in a Jesus-centered family. Establish the core and then establish some of these values. So I want to invite you, just as a family, regardless of whatever season you're in. Maybe you're single and you want to establish some of these for yourself. Maybe you're single again and you're regrouping and say, okay, what does this look like for me? Maybe your grandparents, you're like, hey, in our season, what do we really value? Maybe we haven't been quite that intentional. And what do we value in as grandparents and as parents of adult kids? Whatever season you're in, grab the tool, work the process a little bit. If your kids are 8 or 9 years old or older, they can be part of this with you. They can be a really helpful, fun part of this with you. Grab the tool, let's establish some values, and then on Sunday, we're gonna kind of keep going, take it to the next step of the way. I love you, church. Your family matters, and let's just own it. All of our family have matters. We got issues. So let's keep talking about how to live this thing in a Jesus-shaped way. We'll see you on Sunday.